one, and I thought this was leadership-wise a brilliant move, the leadership team at ITCO said, okay, it's not your fault, ITCO management, it's our fault. Okay, we'll take the blame for this. We're not passing that down. We didn't properly plan and execute this move. Okay, then the second part of the solution was they committed to spending more time getting the ranks invested in making the business model work. And the third part of the solution, which is part of the implementation of the second part, is the new ITCO Business Effectiveness Training. And it was taught by the president and the VPs of ITCO. All right, let me talk to that issue for a minute. You can imagine how this happened at first. Harmon Carswell says to his boss, Steve Yates, Steve, we need to get our managers better on how to budget. We need to give them more knowledge on how to do forecasting. We need to give them more knowledge on how to compute cost structures. So Steve says, what do you want to do, Harmon? And Harmon says, all right, let's go out and hire some commercial trainers to come in here, and we'll put all our guys in a classroom, and these commercial trainers will train them how to do this stuff. And so that's what they do. They go off to do that. Now, put yourself in the position of these IT managers. Somebody hires in a commercial trainer from off the street to come in and teach you about accounting and budgeting in a classroom with 50 other of your peers there. How are you going to respond to that? Probably you're not going to have a lot of interest in what's going on. Probably, since they're taking roll and it's mandatory, you've got to show up. But you're going to pop up your laptop and you're going to be working on whatever else you need to be doing. You're there in the class, but you're not paying a lot of attention, and consequently, you're not getting the material absorbed. And the company is not seeing the benefit of that training in creating behavioral change in its IT managers. So what was the solution? Well, the next time you show up for training, Steve Yates is at the front of the class, and he's the one delivering the training. Well, how does that change your attitude? You're sitting there going, good grief, this is my boss's boss standing up teaching the class, knowing whether or not I look like I'm paying attention, grading my homework, and it's obviously an extraordinarily high senior management priority because the president of the company is up in front of the classroom. And so consequently, this time, you're going to pay a lot more attention. You're going to actually learn the material. You're going to do a great job on this homework. This is great time to get in front of the executives in the company and start to establish your reputation and start to establish the sort of visibility that you love to have. What a great opportunity. All you have to do is excel at this training. So, people took it seriously. That was part of the solution. Now let's look at the training courses that were part of this curriculum. The ITCO business model, how the IT company got started, operating in a political environment, interesting. Building relationships. Why would you want to teach a course in building relationships to 30, 40, 50-year-old men and women? Well, if we'll be honest with ourselves, building relationships is not one of the strong points traditionally of folks that love to be programmers. Okay, I put myself in that category, we who started our professional career as software developers like dealing with computers because there's not a lot of ambiguity with computers like there are with people. When I tell a computer to do something, it does it. When I want a computer to do something and it doesn't do it, I figure out what specific, explicit instruction I have failed to give it. That's called debugging the code. And then just change the instructions. And then I get the computer to do exactly what I want it to do. And people are never like that. So somebody like me who naturally feels comfortable dealing with computers is probably not going to have the best relationship development skills. And that's the situation that they found here in USAA. And so the next course was one called Dealing with Ambiguity, very similar to building relationships. And then a course in negotiating, and a course in Patterns of Influence, Management Agreement. Now, I've gotten some questions in the past, what do we mean by management agreement? We mean contract management agreement after the contract is signed. Business basics such as accounting, marketing, sales, how to compete, how to treat customers, managing customer expectations, measuring service. Okay. A painful lesson. You must have a business model written out that's understood not only by IT management team, but the whole group. In our case, our goal was to be the trusted IT advisor and general contractor to USAA with a strong relationship to the business. Now, what does all that mean? Well, if you don't know, neither did the ITCO managers the first 50 times they heard it. But after the training happened, after they were now graduates of those 13 new business courses, they understood the implications of this statement a whole lot better. In 2 years, ITCO turned its financials around. The company spent 20% less than they had planned to spend without any major customer complaints. Actually, customer satisfaction was going up during this time. Okay? The only significant complaint was IT was making a profit. Now, at this point, we have to ask the question, what was wrong with making a profit? Well, if you were these other USAA divisions and you just found out ITCO made a 20% profit this last year, you might be inclined to think that they overcharged me by 20%. They're only being profitable by using more of my money than they needed to use to provide me with the IT services that I needed. ITCO's viewpoint on this was, hey, if we get too close to that line of exactly what it costs us to run the company, and we don't have some sort of cushion here, the next year, if we're not profitable, we're going in the red, and that causes us to have to do drastic and painful things in ITCO to keep surviving. Furthermore, we use that profit to fund future R&D. So the company is not just all about what are we doing this year to provide you, our customers, with the requisite IT services, but what are we doing to invest in R&D functions that are going to allow us to provide you with superior services at even lower costs in the future. And if we don't have some profit to fund that R&D, then our ability to continue to service you in a quality way in the future is diminished. So we look at all that, and even in light of that argument, ITCO decided that they were going to try and shoot for not being more profitable than 3% in a given year. Actually, they even missed that, and they were profitable at 5.5%. But at least that wasn't as dramatic as a 20% profit margin. And after 3 years, we had smooth sailing. Eventually, both the internal IT staff and the external business customers came to understand and accept the ITC model. Yates says here that this didn't happen all at once. It took them 3 years to get to the point to where they were running smoothly. In the next 45-minute section of this lecture, we're going to investigate more about the ITCO chargeback model. We're going to look in more detail into how they set up its separate product lines. And we're going to look at some of the